issue I'm going to talk about in this short video is field trips. A field trip is a teaching technique where you take students out of the traditional classroom setting out to a specific field location that is directly related to the course or program that they're taking. So if everybody's ready to go, we'll be on our way.
If, for example, I'm a nursing student, then a field trip to a local hospital or healthcare facility would be an ideal field trip setting. If I'm an ecology student, an ideal field trip location could be a local wetland or forest. Some of the things I'm going to talk about in this short video are the role of the educator, logistics and planning, safety issues, maximizing the learning value of the field trip, advantages, benefits, limitations, and the role of the learner. So, the role of the educator. Field trips require a fair bit of preparation on the part of the instructor, especially if this is the first time that a field trip is organized. Subsequent field trips in the future to the same location will require less prep work once the logistics have been dealt with the first time. Arrangements with the location that the field trip will be hosted have to be made well in advance of the actual field trip. Many field trip locations may be accustomed to having visitors, giving tours, demonstrating, or sharing expertise. For example, if I wish to take students that are taking an introductory trades course to tour our local plywood factory, the first step is to contact the communications person at the mill to see if they're willing to host students. They might not be flexible with size of groups or timing of the visit. If possible, the instructor should definitely visit the site prior to the field trip to meet the coordinators, assess potential problems, and plan how the students could best use their time. Selecting a time and date that the field trip will work both with the instructing body and the topics that you're covering in class is something that should be done early in the preparatory process. And you should always have a contingency plan in case things don't go as planned. For example, if you're planning an outdoor field trip and the weather is extreme, you might have to cancel the field trip. You should always have a plan B in the event of poor weather. Safety. The instructor should ensure that there are minimal health or safety risks to the students at the proposed field trip location. You should always be prepared. If you're going to go by chartered bus, there should be support vehicles in the event of an emergency or mishap. And if you're going to somewhere remote, you should make sure that there's cell phone coverage. Liability risks should be discussed with the field trip host location. If there are risks inherent in the field trip, or if the host requires a signing of a waiver, this should be discussed at the start of the field trip planning, and waivers should be prepared, distributed, signed, and collected well before the start date. And finally, you should discuss health issues. If there are any students that might have a health issue that might affect their ability to take part in the field trip, you need to know about it. Allergies, asthma, or fitness level, for example. Maximizing the benefits of the field trip. Keep in mind that the timing of the field trip should coincide well with the material that the students are covering in the course. There will be less value derived from going to a field trip location with a theme that the students not yet covered in class. Therefore, timing will impact student benefit. The students will get more value from the field trip if the topics that will be covered in the field trip have been introduced in the class prior to the trip. You'll get more value from your field trip if you prepare your students before the field trip through classroom activities. And you should also have some activities to perform at the field trip. For example, you might request that the students go interview some specialists on the field trip, or you might do a scavenger hunt while on the field trip. And after the field trip's over, the next class you could devote to reviewing what they've learned or expand on the field trip just to maximize your benefit even more. What are the advantages of field trips? Going on a field trip is a great way for the class to get to know each other better, which can help to build the classroom community. Field trips promote active, experiential learning and help reinforce in a very hands-on way the material that's been learned in class. Field trips can be inspiring and help build connections to the real world. Field trips can offer resources unavailable in class. And field trips are stimulating and focused classwork by helping students synthesize the information they might already be learning. What are the limitations of field trips? If you have a really big class size, this will be a factor in your ability to plan a good field trip. If the class is visiting a facility, for example, and the ratio of students to field trip facilitator is too high, students will not get as much out of the learning experience. One way to mitigate this is to divide the group up into manageably sized groups, then rotate the smaller groups through various stations. Field trips take a lot of time to prepare, but they also take a lot of time to actually do. So the timing of your class might really make it hard to do a proper field trip. An alternative to going into the field might be to bring people or experts with knowledge and expertise into your classroom to demonstrate and display their knowledge. And the budget might impact your choice of field trip. Sometimes a field trip can be made within walking distance of the learning facility, and many field trips can be almost free. What's the role of the learner? Well, the learner interacts with the environment outside the traditional classroom setting and should be prepared mentally and physically to get involved. And the student has to take an active interest in what is going on and will participate and learn. In closing, field trips are an instructional strategy that can inspire students, impress them, and help them to make connections between what they're learning inside and the real world outside.